911 with the address of...
Yeah. Hi. Listen.
What's going on?
My girlfriend's daughter is killed. Yeah.
What's going on there?
My girlfriend, I'm sorry, my daughter's, he chopped her head off.
On the morning of June 9th, a worker disposing of construction materials noticed something inside that did not belong.
What the knife look like? Down like that.
Okay.
That short, with teeth on that mother.
So like a paring knife?
Like with teeth on it, like you cut meat.
Like serrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. That's what the knife looked like. Just
Was
like
the handle longer than the blade, or was the...
No, it was short, about like this. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that long.
And when you picked up the knife, did you pick it up by the blade? Did you pick it up by the handle?
Pick it up by the blade. I mean by the handle.
By the handle?
Through that mother.
I got you.
There's oh shit, blood on it. That.
Was the blood on the handle? Was it on the blade? Was it covered in it?
Well,
Was
I
it
knew it was on the blade.
It was on the blade?
Yeah.
Realizing the severity of the situation, he immediately backed away, sensing that this summer morning was about to take a disturbing turn.
Got a message from her last night.
What time did you last hear from her?
It was like 9:05 or so. I had sent her a text, and she said they were talking. And then I tried again at 10, and she didn't answer. And then I tried this morning 2 times, and she didn't answer. And so then I came over here because she usually answers.
Okay. So last time we talked to her was last night when she sent your text message, right?
Yes.
Okay. The officers are coming. They'll be there.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Okay.
First responders were dispatched at 12:59 p.m. and arrived to find Heidi seated on the steps outside, visibly distraught and crying.
Where we going on?
Apartment 4.
Is anybody else here?
No, I didn't see her.
You have a key to get in? Right here. This one. Do you have the key?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She provided the entry code to the building, allowing officers to proceed inside despite anticipating the grim scene awaiting them.
Evan, watch the rear.
Lisa's apartment was located on the 2nd floor, and the door was unlocked. Inside the bedroom, officers discovered a body believed to be Lisa's. A towel had been wrapped around the neck area in a manner resembling a turban, but it quickly became apparent that her head was missing.
She wasn't kidding. Can we go sit on these front porch steps though? Okay.
Well, I don't want to bother those people.
You know what? I'll tell them.
My car.
I'll tell them to go away, okay?
It's okay.
Well, I just... Sir? Apartment 4 upstairs to the right.
Oh my God.
Here, let's...
Oh God, Liisa, why didn't you listen?
Take some big deep breaths for me, okay?
And then I touched her, and she was cold, and so then I wanted to make sure that he just strangled her, and then there wasn't a head. Please find her head.
No other individuals were found inside the apartment, and there were no immediate signs of a murder weapon or the missing remains, suggesting they had been removed from the scene. The brutality of the crime shocked investigators and devastated the surrounding community, shattering the sense of safety in what had been a quiet neighborhood.
They let us know that somebody was found dead next door. To have to lose a child that way, and that baby is an extension of her mother and the rest of her family, so they lost a child as well. They lost 2.
How did events reach this point? What circumstances led a young woman with her life ahead of her, and soon to become a mother, to such a tragic end? To understand the crime, the timeline must be traced back 24 hours. On the afternoon of June 8th, just before 2 p.m., Liisa is seen on her porch, quietly scrolling through her phone and gazing out at the lawn, unaware that within 10 hours, her life would be over. Liisa Dodd was born in Alton, Madison County, on August 14, 1999. From an early age, she was known as a bright, compassionate child with a deep love for animals. For her 10th birthday, she chose to organize a fundraiser for the Riverbend Humane Society in Jerseyville rather than receive gifts. That caring nature continued into her teenage years. After graduating from Jersey Community High School in 2017, she began working at Dairy Queen, where customers remembered her as warm, energetic, and friendly. Beyond her outgoing personality, she was saving money to pursue a career in the medical field, following in her mother's footsteps. By June 2022, she was 8 months pregnant and eagerly awaiting the birth of a baby girl.
I had just sent out invitations prior Saturday for the baby shower. We were just excited and kind of gathering the items you need to have a baby.
Liisa had not yet chosen a name for her unborn daughter. Within the family, the baby was affectionately referred to as Baby Bean, and relatives were eagerly anticipating her arrival and the future that lay ahead.
She was just a loving soul, just a beautiful soul. And I just wish she would have known how loved she was. You know, that she wouldn't have ever been alone, that she could have gotten out of this relationship and had a full life.
At the time, Liisa was in an on-again, off-again relationship with Deandrea Holloway, an Illinois native of the same age. The details of how they met remain unclear, but they had reportedly been involved for nearly 2 years. According to his half-sister, Holloway struggled with substance use and came from a troubled home environment.
How long has he not lived there?
He moved out when he was about 18.
And how old is he now?
21.
Okay. Where did he go when he moved out?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you know about DeAndre's life currently, like about like his relationship status and things like that, and where he lives and things like that?
He lives pretty much with everybody. He lives with his girlfriend, but whenever they get into it, he hops in different people's homes.
His unstable lifestyle had also affected Liisa. At one point, according to her former supervisor at Dairy Queen, the couple experienced homelessness and lived in a tent near Lake Litchfield.
I think she was making up a story,
okay.
And then she finally did tell me that she had some problems with her boyfriend, was hitting her, and they were actually homeless and were living out at the campground at the lake.
By early 2022, they had moved into an apartment in Alton, but their relationship continued to be strained.
She had a lot of personal problems with a boyfriend, a lot of calling off. She had a lot of black eyes when she would come in. When she first started, she would make excuses that her dog had jumped up and hit her and caused her black eyes. She was constantly running late, for personal reasons. Always something coming up. She had a lot of black eyes, a lot of bruising on her arms, where you could see, maybe grabbing.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Liisa's employer had previously witnessed one of their disputes firsthand, underscoring the volatility between them.
What specifically did you see when the day you actually witnessed her being battered? What did you see?
A punch in the face.
You saw Mr. Holloway punch her?
Face,
okay.
Yeah.
So were they in the car when that happened, or were they outside the car?
No, they were in the car, and we have cameras on the back of the building. We actually tried to roll the cameras back, but they're not very good definition, so we weren't able to actually see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was he in the driver's seat?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And did she return to work after that happened?
She did.
And did you see any? Did she have any visible injuries on that occasion?
Her face was red.
Okay. And did she say anything, or was she confronted about that?
I asked her about it, and she said they had gotten in an argument. Eventually, after the excuses about the dog and things like that stopped, she was honest about it and just said that they were always arguing and fighting, and then they would make up and it would happen again.
Okay. Did she, specifically that day when she was struck? Was there any conversation after the fact when she comes back into work about the police or?
I wanted to call the police, and she did not want to do that.
Okay.
In July 2021, Liisa was hospitalized after an incident in which Deandrea allegedly broke her nose and left her with severe facial injuries. The couple had also been observed arguing publicly on multiple occasions. Following one confrontation, a witness reported seeing Deandrea striking himself repeatedly, as if in self-punishment. The situation escalated further in September 2021, when Liisa sent a message to her employer stating that her boyfriend had assaulted her again and that she had fled to her mother's home out of fear for her safety, requesting time off work until conditions stabilized. Despite these incidents, the relationship resumed not long afterward. By May, DeAndrea had introduced Liisa to his half-sister, PJ, who later stated that DeAndrea was believed to be the father of Lisa's unborn child.
So you can tell she's pregnant?
Yes.
And I know this is a dumb question. Did he say that it was his?
Yes. They both did, yeah.
And whenever they fight, what does he do? Where does he go?
He just takes off, and nobody knows where he goes.
Do you know that they fight a lot before? Or?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
He told me.
In the days leading up to the crime, DeAndrea had been confiding in a friend about his deteriorating mental state. Shortly after midnight on June 5th, he sent messages describing overwhelming emotions that he had long suppressed, saying it felt as though everything was spilling out at once, and that he did not know how to release his anger in a healthy way. He also expressed feeling burdened by responsibilities from a young age, stating he had been forced into adult roles long before he was ready. The messages suggested a man nearing an emotional breaking point. Then, on Tuesday, June 7th, DeAndrea was reported missing. As family members searched for him, his half-sister PJ reached out to Liisa through social media in hopes of locating him.
I'm currently friends with her now because we were looking for him yesterday because he just went missing.
Okay.
So I found her on Facebook and tried to get some information to see if she knew.
How does it start?
The first person she called was my grandma, and she asked my grandma if he was at her house, and she said no. And the girlfriend said that he didn't come home Tuesday night into Wednesday, and she was looking for him and stuff, and she thought that he may have went to my grandma's house. So my grandma called me and asked if he was up there or if I heard from him.
When Liisa returned home from work on Tuesday, she discovered that DeAndrea was gone. He had not indicated where he was going or whether he intended to return. Nearly full term in her pregnancy and already under significant stress, she messaged her mother around 9 p.m. on June 7th, expressing fear that he had left for good after taking some of his belongings. Heidi attempted to reassure her, suggesting that if the relationship had ended, at least it had not turned violent. Liisa, however, remained distressed and described the day as unusually tense, admitting she had reacted poorly during their last interaction. In her emotional state, she revealed she had harmed herself, saying she felt overwhelmed and unable to cope. Concerned for her daughter's well-being, Heidi urged her to stay calm for both her own health and the baby's safety. Although Liisa eventually went to bed, anxiety kept her restless, prompting a brief late-night drive shortly after 1:30 a.m. By 7:06 a.m. the following morning, she reported that DeAndrea still had not returned. She continued her routine as if preparing for a normal workday, but conveyed a persistent sense that something was wrong. Seeking answers, she contacted DeAndrea's relatives, including his half-sister PJ. At her mother's suggestion, she also reached out to her landlord, asking him to review the building's security footage, after noting that DeAndrea had left his phone behind. The cameras later showed that he had departed Tuesday evening with his uncle, Marty, his father's brother.
The girlfriend called the landlord to their apartment because they have cameras around the apartment and stuff, and she asked the landlord if he can go back and look at the cameras and stuff to see if he saw DeAndre, which he did. It was like around 6:24 when he left the apartment, and he went with his uncle that lives in St. Louis.
Is everybody relieved at that point, or like?
Not really, because the girlfriend said that his uncle was supposed to bring him back that night, and he was supposed to call like before 10, and then it was after 10.
DeAndrea did not return that night, and his half-sister PJ went to bed on June 8th without any further updates. Later that evening, around 8 p.m., Liisa received an unexpected message from DeAndrea's uncle, stating that he was bringing him back and that everything was fine. Concerned, Heidi questioned the situation and expressed distrust toward DeAndrea, warning her daughter to be cautious. Despite these concerns, Liisa drove out to pick him up. Security cameras captured the couple returning to their apartment at approximately 9:11 p.m. While still in the car, Liisa messaged her mother that she was trying to figure things out. This would be her final communication. When Heidi later checked on her at 10:49 p.m., there was no response. Surveillance footage over the next several hours shows routine activity from other residents, but neither Liisa nor Dundrea appear again until 11:57 p.m., when Dundrea exits the building alone carrying a white laundry basket. He approaches Lisa's car but does not enter, then returns inside and re-emerges minutes later, now wearing different clothing, dark shoes, and a face covering, still holding the basket. He walks out of view toward a nearby smoke shop where a dumpster is located. Footage from a nearby business shows the basket being thrown into the dumpster shortly after midnight, along with clothing. Investigators would later determine that the basket contained Lisa's severed head. Approximately 2 hours later, Lisa's car disappeared from the parking lot, and Dundrea drove to his mother's residence.
And then my sister said around 2:30 in the morning that he's like banging on the door and stuff, and he's like pacing and like acting nervous.
Where?
At my house.
This morning?
Yeah, this morning
Okay.
at 2:30.
At approximately 10 a.m. on June 9th, about 3 hours before Lisa's mother would discover her daughter's body, PJ encountered Dundrea in the bathroom, cutting off his dreadlocks.
I seen my grandma standing in the doorway to the bathroom, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, there's Dee. And then he was cutting his hair off and stuff, and I asked him why he was cutting his hair off, and he just said a fresh start.
Okay. And what's his demeanor like?
He was, like, nervous. Like, you can tell he was, like, really nervous.
Just your personal opinion, why do you think he's cutting his hair off?
Got in trouble.
Hair he had not trimmed in 2 years, and took pride in maintaining. The timing of this sudden change appeared unusual. He asked to shower and requested clean clothing, and his mother provided a fresh set of clothes, including gray sweatpants.
Clothes that he had on, he took them outside for some reason, and then he set it by the sidewalk, and then he comes back in, and then he was...
Did you see him take those clothes off?
Yes.
So is that why because you said he didn't have a shirt to wear. So when do you see him take the clothes off?
He had a hoodie on and some pants, and then he took his shirt off, or his hoodie off when he was cutting his hair, I guess, because it was already off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still had the pants on and stuff, and the hoodie was on the bathroom floor.
And that's when he gets out and asks your mom for clothes?
Yeah.
And then he didn't have a shirt on, obviously?
Because he didn't want to put the same clothes back on.
Okay, what were those clothes?
I know it was a bucket hat. I think it was like blue.
You didn't see about a hat. He had a hat on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
He had like a bucket hat on. I think it was like blue or something.
Anything about the hoodie that you recognize?
No.
With the shirt he had on?
No.
So when he gets to the shower, those clothes are all in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And then that's when he gets the gray pants from your mom, and does he ask you for a shirt?
No, I just gave him one.
Because he knew.
Yeah.
So then what does he do with the clothes?
After we got off the shower, he took them outside, put them by the sidewalk where our trash can was, and then he comes back in the house, chats for a little bit and stuff, and then my grandma was cooking breakfast, and she asked him if he wanted a plate, and he said yeah, and then that's when he went back outside, and then I guess the clothes that he had on the sidewalk, he put them in the trash, which they're in there now.
Dundrea had returned to the home around 2:30 a.m. Though PJ had been asleep at the time, her sister had been awake and saw him arrive.
She said that when he was banging on the door and stuff, it scared her, and she was asleep in the living room watching Netflix. Well, not asleep, but she was awake.
You 4 girls there then? Sister, mom, grandma, all there overnight?
It was me, my mom, sister, grandma, yes. Yeah. She said that she hears like really loud banging and stuff, and then she looks out, and she said she seen Dee, and then when she opened the door, she looked in the parkway, in the parking lot thing, in our driveway, and then she said that she seen a black car, and his girlfriend drives a black car.
Family members found it suspicious that he had come back driving his girlfriend's car without her. Their concern deepened when his grandmother noticed he was carrying several of Lisa's personal belongings, for which he offered no clear explanation.
He had I don't even know what his girlfriend's name is.
Okay.
But anyhow, he had gave me her ID in the debit card.
Okay.
And I said, well, why you got her debit card?
Yeah.
And license, you know. And I said, now she out there driving, and then she thinks she got her license, and you got it. Then this morning, he gave me 2 keys.
Okay.
And I said, well, where you get these keys from? And he said he found them on the ground. But he didn't say where he found them on the ground. And I said, well, give it here. I said, then I can get in touch with her.
Okay.
And
you want to put that stuff in there?
I'm getting it back now?
This here?
Yeah.
Is that yours?
No, but I'm going to try.
Right.
I'm going to try to get it to her.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll take care of it.
You sure now?
Yeah.
The keys too?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Did he tell you what those keys were for?
He just told me he found them. Gave
What
it to
did he
me.
say to you when you asked him why he had that stuff? He didn't give you an answer?
Just look like he's in a daze or something.
Around midday, he left the residence again without indicating where he was going, further heightening the family's unease.
He said, I'm going to cut some grass. And so she asked him, where was he going to cut grass? And he just said he's going to cut grass.
Okay. And he left on foot?
He left on foot.
D'Andrea's actions suggested a deliberate attempt to conceal his involvement. He altered his appearance by changing clothes and discarding them, distributed several of Lisa's personal belongings to relatives to dispose of, and left her vehicle parked on the street with a handwritten "For Sale" sign in the window. He then left the area on foot. To investigators, this pattern of behavior increasingly pointed toward an effort to cover his tracks, a conclusion that Lisa's mother appeared to suspect from the beginning, as reflected in her 911 call.
My daughter's boyfriend killed her. He chopped her head off.
Heidi did not need to witness the crime firsthand to believe she knew who was responsible.
Are you outside the apartment right now?
Yes, yes.
What kind of a weapon does he have?
He's not here. He took her car.
Okay, the officers are coming. So you haven't heard from her boyfriend or talked to him at all?
No, I haven't.
In hindsight, her earlier reassurance that the relationship had ended safely and without violence proved tragically premature.
Even being mom, like, if you knew where he's at, would you tell me?
I would. Like, if I knew what was going on, I would tell you, but from last night of him doing the disappearing act to what's going on now, I have no clue, like, what has transpired.
Are you afraid of him?
Yeah, I got an order of protection on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what prompted you to get that?
He was staying with me for a couple days, and he was becoming frightening, like he was going to do something. So I was like, you gotta go. And so when he left, he called my daughter back and was like, I love you guys, but I'm coming back to kill you.
What occurred inside the apartment between the couple's return at 9:11 p.m. and D'Andrea's reappearance just before midnight remains a critical question. Downstairs neighbors, who had previously been exposed to repeated disturbances and arguments from the unit, were all too familiar with the volatility of the relationship.
Well, the past few days they've been arguing, and that's nothing new.
Okay.
They fight, like they used to fight all the time, and it would be loud fighting, and we actually had to call the cops on them before, because I don't know who it was, but somebody picked something up and slammed it against the wall. We assumed it was one of them throwing each other.
On the night of June 8th, neighbors reported hearing everything unfolding inside the apartment.
Last night it was different. It was like, we got home from picking me up from work. I got home from work around 9:30-ish, and their front door was cracked, which is unusual. They don't.
9:30 p.m. last night? Okay.
They don't usually leave their front door cracked, and it was, and that was a little weird. And I heard like muffled yelling, like not screaming, but yelling in a way, kind of like in pain, like you just like snipped your finger with a scissor and you had to put some over your mouth so you wouldn't scream too loud. That's what it sounded like.
So you said it sounded like muffled screaming?
Kind of, but it wasn't too loud.
Okay.
And then later on, we heard like the apartment shakes a little bit whenever you move too much. and it started shaking, and we're like, okay, they must be fighting or something, and we were gonna wait to see if it got better, or like if it didn't, because we were just gonna go sit outside and wait it out.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to deal with it. And so whenever that was happening, the apartment was shaking, they were fighting about something, and then all of a sudden the screaming got really, really loud and really intense. And that was, I would say, probably about 9:45, 9:50. And then the apartment had like 5 or 6 loud like thuds, and they got louder and louder each time.
Okay.
And they shook the apartment as well. And that sounded more like it was coming from...
So what did it sound like experienced in life, to your best ability, that would have created or possibly created the sound that you heard?
Probably, I really don't know, other than like chopping wood.
Okay.
Because that's what it felt like. He had enough, I didn't mean to say he, but like, you know, that's what it sounded like there was enough time to do, was like, it was very constant beats too.
Okay.
So that's what made me think it sounded like that.
So do you think it sounded like an instrument hitting something, or do you think, or what? Something is making you kind of envision that through sound. You know what I mean? Like we hear something and our brain is gonna take that information in, right? What we're hearing, smelling, feeling, and we're gonna kind of like paint this mental picture, right?
Right.
So, what about that sound makes you think chopping wood?
It was more of how steady it was.
Okay.
Because when you chop wood, you know, you gotta lift it up, you gotta hold it, and then you gotta put all your weight into it, and all your muscle.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you go.
And you kind of got a rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had like 4 or 5, 6 of those beats, and then it just stopped. The screaming stopped, the sound stopped, the shaking stopped, everything stopped.
Among the noises reported was a repeated chopping sound, a detail neighbors initially could not comprehend, but which investigators later determined was consistent with the fatal mutilation inflicted on Liisa.
At that point, we heard somebody walk outside, but we weren't able to see because we just glanced down the window, and from the window that the awning is right there, so we can't see down on the patio deck area, and so we couldn't see who it was, but they were out there for about 2 minutes, and then they came back in, and they came upstairs, but I was too scared to see who it was.
And then what?
We went outside to see if so my best friend came over, and because I was like, hey, something's going on, I'm not feeling so right about this. And she was like, I'll come stay outside with you. So we were standing out waiting for one of them to come downstairs, because usually after they fight, one of them comes downstairs.
Okay.
Neither one of them did, but the lights upstairs in their apartment kept turning on and off.
Okay.
So we knew somebody was up there. We assumed it was Liisa.
Okay.
But we didn't see either one of them.
A neighbor sent a message to the landlord describing alarming disturbances from the apartment, reporting heavy thumping sounds followed by prolonged screaming that lasted several minutes before stopping and then resuming. The neighbor also noted that the upstairs door was partially open. The landlord attempted to contact Liisa but received no response. Although the neighbor indicated that police would be called if the noise continued, the sounds did not resume. By that point, it was already too late. As evidence accumulated, police executed a search warrant at Dundrea's mother's residence at approximately 9:30 p.m. on June 9th. In an outdoor trash container, consistent with family statements, investigators located clothing matching what he had worn in surveillance footage, along with his cut dreadlocks wrapped in tissue. Dundrea himself was not present. In the early hours of June 10th, at about 1:45 a.m., authorities received notification from the Gillespie Police Department that an unidentified individual taken into custody earlier that day had been identified as DeAndrea Holloway. While Alton police had been preparing for a large-scale search, it proved unnecessary. He had already been arrested in Gillespie that afternoon on a cannabis-related offense.
Search him.
Yeah. Still don't have a name.
That's okay. What's her name?
What I have? What's that?
What I have?
You have cannabis on you.
Oh, okay, exactly. Right.
DeAndrea appeared visibly restless while in the presence of officers.
Need some water or anything? Yeah, I would like some water because, you know, you guys got to... Hey. You need some water? Yeah. Okay, please get you some water. Is it okay if I walk around? Is it okay if I stand up and take a step, like a couple steps?
What you gonna do? Why you gotta do that? Pull your pants up or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's it.
You're fine.
He's doing his job. This man has done nothing but his job. I swear to you.
You need to sit back down in the chair, please.
Didn't you just say I could pace?
No, I didn't say you could pace. I thought you said you had to get beat pants. If you could sit down in there, please. Thank you.
Do you mind if I pace? Is that illegal? I'm here. I'm handcuffed, ain't it?
We don't want that. We want you to sit down.
Exactly. I know you don't want that.
So if you could please sit down, guys.
I can't. I'm handcuffed.
Yeah, you can. You can sit down.
I literally can't do anything. I'm handcuffed.
You need to sit down.
Why are you guys scared of me for what?
I'm not scared. You need to sit down.
How? If I'm literally sitting here pacing handcuffed, I can't do shit.
You gotta
He searched me.
Okay, so what's your name? What they're going to do is...
I literally asked if I was being detained. That man said no. And then he proceeded to ask me the same question over and over and over. And I said the same thing. And again, he's just not having it because he's got an attitude problem with me. I got an attitude problem too. I know I got one. That's why I'm not sitting down.
But you know I could make you sit down, so I'm not.
Do it.
What did I just say?
Do it. Sit me down.
I said I could.
Do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Because you're scared. Exactly. I'm handcuffed.
Scared of what?
Do it.
You know, guy, we're not going to get into this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, weren't you just being mean to me though?
I'm not being mean to you.
I
said you're pacing back and forth, and you said, well, set me down. And I said I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to.
He displayed erratic behavior, pacing continuously, repeatedly questioning officers, and at one point laughing before striking his head against the wall.
Don't do that.
They just fucking did that. You come in here.
Don't do that.
Do something. That's what I'm saying. Do something.
Do that.
Do something. Don't do that. That's what I'm saying. Don't do that.
Officers were forced to physically restrain him to prevent self-harm, holding him on the floor as he continued to insist that he would be released.
Just have my folks will come get me out.
Well, we don't know your name, so...
Exactly, but my folks will be there to get me out.
Who's your folks? I don't know who you're
Don't worry about it.
He continued to refuse to identify himself, but investigators already knew who he was. Detectives from Alton arrived and formally arrested him on suspicion of Lisa's murder, executing warrants to obtain DNA, fingerprints, and other forensic samples. Around midday on June 10th, nearly 24 hours after Lisa's body was discovered, investigators attempted to interview him. He refused to cooperate, declining to provide any information, including his name, and repeatedly stating that he wanted to go to work, despite no clear indication of employment. He also claimed to be dissociated and mentioned having previously been prescribed medication. The interview ended when he requested an attorney, at which point questioning ceased. On June 13th, prosecutors filed multiple charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, of a human body, motor vehicle-related offenses, and concealment of a homicidal death. Bond was set at $2 million. The case sparked intense public outrage within the community, drawing an emotional response even from local law enforcement leadership.
What happened to 22-year-old Liisa Dodd, who had just moved to this place in Alton, is beyond irreprehensible. It is completely terrible what happened to her. Her unborn child was also killed as a result of this.
DeAndrea's family, however, urged the public to consider the complexity of his circumstances. On June 16th, his stepfather, Chris Hawk, posted a video on YouTube addressing the case and offering his perspective.
I never thought I would be recording a video like this. First of all, I want to offer my condolences to the Dodd family. I cannot imagine what you must be going through. I'm not going to deny that what happened was an extreme act of evil. It was. I don't know how else to explain it. It was an act of evil. I don't know if there's a word that describes it. And over here we are ashamed. His mom, his sister, we're all shocked. We knew he was capable of violence, but we never saw this. We've been trying to get help for him for at least 3 years. But as far as longer term mental care, we were always told that we can't hold them unless they've done something.
He did not dispute the severity of the crime, but attributed D'Andrea's actions to long-standing mental health struggles that the family had attempted to address for years, claiming their efforts were hindered by systemic barriers.
Our system fails people with mental problems. I've grown up in an environment with mental problems, and people are kind of left on their own. It's a tragic situation. This is the D that we knew. They're old pictures, but they show that there is a human there. The human does exist. He's not a monster. What he did was monstrous. He's not a monster. I'm not advocating that DeAndre should ever be allowed to enter civilized society again. I mean, he's obviously crossed a line there. I'm not advocating anything like that. I'm just saying there's a human being here, and it's tragic. It's tragic what mental illness has done to him.
In the early stages of the case, shortly after charges were filed, D'Andrea reportedly struggled in custody. He refused to leave his cell, made threats toward correctional staff, including statements about decapitation, and declined to participate in a scheduled virtual court appearance on June 14th, requiring officers to physically restrain him for transport. Concerns about his mental condition persisted, and he was ultimately deemed unfit to stand trial, leading to treatment at a state facility until competency was restored. During this period, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that an unborn child could not be counted as a separate murder victim for purposes of seeking a life sentence, affecting the potential penalties in the case. In January 2024, D'Andrea entered a guilty plea. On January 17, 2025, he was sentenced to a total of 60 years in prison, 30 years for murder, 20 years for the homicide of the unborn child, and 10 years for concealment of a homicidal death, all to be served consecutively. He must serve at least 52 years before becoming eligible for release. Despite the legal resolution, a clear motive was never definitively established. Various theories circulated, including jealousy, relationship conflict, or an escalation of prior violence, but the precise reason remains unknown. Lisa's family continues to grieve the loss.
We're here to announce that DeAndre Holloway was convicted and sentenced in the murder of Liisa Dodd and her unborn child today to 60 years in prison. And I want to introduce Heidi, Lisa's mother and grandmother of the unborn daughter, to give a few words reflecting on today's verdict and sentence.
I would like to thank the many law enforcement agencies that collaborated on my daughter's case. A special thank you to Officer Wimmersberg of the Alton Police Department for his excellent work on this case. I am forever grateful for your time and wisdom.
This is a tragic outcome of a 2-year on and off again domestic violence relationship. This didn't have to end this way. My daughter should be here raising her toddler
instead of being a casualty of domestic violence. If you have a mental instability or mental illness, seek treatment and be consistent with your treatment. Understand that your condition or illness will not keep you from being held accountable for the crimes you commit. If you are in a domestic violence relationship, if someone is emotionally, mentally, or physically abusing you, make a safe plan to leave that relationship. If they continually disrespect your boundaries, make demeaning comments, and control your every movement, this is abuse. Find the resolve to leave that relationship. If someone threatens to end your life, believe them. If they can say it, think it, and talk about it, they can carry out the threat. Reach out to your local, regional, or national resources that are available to assist you in making a safe plan to leave. Your life depends on it. It isn't easy, and it may be one of the hardest things you do, but your life is important, and you are worthy and deserve a life free from abuse.
I want to say that you don't often see the kind of strength that the family of Liisa has exhibited in this case. Incredible strength, incredible grace in the courtroom today with her statements to the defendant who lived the life of her daughter and granddaughter, and who over years, as she said, had abused them, and is now going to face decades in prison for the crime of murder for 2 lives, not just one, the mother and the unborn child. And I just want to commend the family to say that it's very inspirational to see the kind of strength that you've shown, and I'm sure that everyone in the courtroom experienced the same thing. I also want to say this case has a deep meaning, I think, to every mother, and there were aspects of this case related to the unborn child who died that were extremely moving. One in which, Liisa's last act, her hand was resting on a book about pregnancy. So her last thought was probably about her unborn child. And so there's a beauty there in those last moments. And I think that she's with us now.
In an update on the family's GoFundMe page, Liisa's mother wrote that the sentence brought a measure of closure to an unspeakable crime. She acknowledged that no amount of time could restore the lives that were lost, but expressed hope that the outcome would prevent further harm to others. She also stated that any funds raised would be donated to a local domestic violence resource organization. The campaign ultimately raised approximately $16,000. As this story concludes, it is fitting to remember Liisa not for the violence that ended her life, but through the words she once shared, a poem she had posted on her Facebook page. What do you believe was the true motive behind this horrific crime, given that investigators never established one conclusively? Do you think earlier intervention in the relationship's history of violence could have prevented this tragedy? If this case moved you, don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories and real footage reconstructions. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective matters, and respectful discussion helps keep these victim stories alive. Like, share, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.